For a second, I thought I was reading a crypto fantasy novel. An analyst is calling Cardano the buy of the century. He even mapped out a scenario where ADA could soar past $500 a coin. It sounds insane, right? Well, let me tell you that this claim stopped me in my tracks. Big price predictions are nothing new in crypto, but this one is on a whole nother level. As someone who's been through the wild ups and the downs with Cardano, I just had to find out, is this pure hopium or is there actually something to it? So today I'm going to be taking you on a personal journey through this bold ADA prediction. We're going to unravel the why, this particular analyst believes that Cardano could explode in value, what actually needs to happen for that to come true, and how I'm positioning myself, carefully of course, in case this is even partly right. And hey, our Discord community has been buzzing about all of this, by the way, so if you're not in the free educational Discord server, the link is in the description. You should probably come and join us. Now, everyone's asking, could ADA really become the trade of the century? Well, stick around. I've got a bit of a side quest to share here, a little experiment that I'm doing with something called Unity to stack up even more crypto on the side. Plus, I'm going to reveal some strategies that I use, like having backup exchanges and staking to create a flywheel, to basically be ready for whatever happens next. There's also a twist in this story that you just won't expect, so don't even think about clicking away. All right, let's set the stage then with what's actually happening right now, because Cardano's price has been on a bit of a roller coaster or a ride lately. Right, just days ago, during that flash crash on October 10th, ADA's price had plunged to around 27 cents on Binance. It was a pretty scary moment, right? I remember checking my own phone and seeing Cardano wick down into the 20-cent range, thinking, ooh, man, that's not good, right? But then, just like a champ, ADA bounced on back. Over the kind of past 24 hours, it's actually shown some pretty bullishness and a bullish spark, I should say, climbing roughly 5%. Although at the point of recording, it has started to pull back again. So it's not bad for a coin that was, I guess, down just a couple of weeks ago, down over 24% during that period. So we've got a bit of a positive momentum brewing alongside Bitcoin and Ethereum's own rallies, right? Now, let's enter our protagonist in this particular tale. This is an analyst who is known as Mr. Brownstone. Now, this guy made waves by insisting that Cardano could be the buy of the century. And yes, that is a direct quote. So naturally, that bold claim got a lot of eyeballs, including mine. Now, according to Mr. Brownstone, there's a specific price level and time window where buying ADA could basically be a life-changing move. And here is the kicker. It's lower than we are right now. So he is talking about one final dip, a drop to around 20 cents per ADA. I know, right? 20 cents. That is like a 70% crash from the current price. It sounds incredibly painful. But in his view, that would be the ultimate bottom for Cardano this decade. Now, Mr. Brownstone basically pointed to 20 cents as the zone where, if you scooped up ADA, you open yourself up to life-changing opportunities. Now, this is interesting because he suggests that this drop could actually happen around the first quarter of 2026. Now, he's calling this a kind of trade of a century or the opportunity of a lifetime, right? All of these things. And it reminds me of how I was predicting 22 cents as the bottom back in 2022. And we got there in 2023, right? It took a while, it took longer than expected, but we eventually got there. And adding a timeline to things is usually a bit of a recipe for a disaster. But let's get into this, right? Early 2026. Why? Right? Mark your calendars, I guess, because maybe keep a reminder in the back of your head that that's kind of what Mr. Brownstone's talking about here. But don't literally schedule a market crash. That's not really how this works, obviously, right? Now, the idea is that sometime in Q1 of 2026, we might see one last gut-wrenching plunge in crypto prices. And that could actually be the time to pounce on Cardano, at least according to him. That could set up one of the best investments this century. Now, why on earth would anyone think Cardano would drop to 20 cents and then skyrocket. So this is where Mr. Brownstone's 5-wave growth structure really comes in. Now, if you're not into technical analysis, don't worry. I am, and I understand things like Elliott Wave very well. Now, I'm going to break down in plain English what Mr. Brownstone is thinking. Right? Essentially, he's using Elliott Wave theory, a type of approach to this. He believes that once ADA hits that bottom, it will basically kick off a 5-wave rally, right? Each wave pushing the price up higher and higher. And I mean much higher. So let's go ahead and walk through these waves because they are truly pretty wild here. Wave 1, he says, would take ADA from 20 cents basement to around $91.5 cents, right? In other words, nearly $1. Basically reclaiming the price levels that we haven't consistently seen since the last bull run. Now, after that, there would be a wave 2, a healthy pullback to around 42.8 cents. So just imagine, right? You ride from 20 cents to 91 cents, and then it retraces to 42 cents. So if you're trading that dip, that might shake out some people. But it sets the stage for the monster wave 3. And boy, is wave 3 a monster in his chart. Now, he predicts ADA could explode to $22.89 in wave 3. Yes, you heard that right, $23.89. That is a 3,338% surge from the current price levels. Now, that's roughly, at this point in the story, my jaw of course is on the floor. Now, from a psychological perspective, just imagine the headlines. Cardano breaks $20. That alone would create euphoria in the market. Now, after such a huge run, wave 4 comes in to cool things off, and he expects a drop to around $7.50. Ouch, right? Going from $22 down to $7 sounds pretty brutal, but in context, $7.50 is still 35 times higher than that 20-cent bottom. It would be a normal kind of multi-1,000% rally correction. Finally, the grand finale, Wave 5. According to this roadmap, Wave 5 for Cardano would aim for roughly $167.40 per ADA. I'm not kidding you here. $167. Right, now that number gave me a few chills. From a mere 66 cents at roughly today's price to around $167 in the future. Now that's on the order of a 25,000% gain from its current levels. It sounds completely outlandish, like some kind of fairy tale. And here's the crazy part. Even the $167 isn't the end of his scenario, because if you zoom out, Mr. Brownstone suggests that $167 would just be the third wave of an even bigger and larger cycle. And the man basically nested wave 1 pattern inside another, like a set of Russian dolls. And that's how Elliott Wave works, by the way. They call it degrees. So the fifth wave of this larger structure actually points to $572 per ADA, right? Yes, $572. So just let that sink in. That would be by far the highest Cardano price anyone has ever seriously talked about. Now, according to his chart, this could happen around the year of 2034, which is 9 years away. That's quite a long timeline, but in the grand scheme of things, 9 years isn't that crazy if everything truly, at least if you're truly patient, I should say. Now, I can practically hear you all screaming, come on, this is ridiculous. And you're not alone. There are a lot of skeptical people about this one, and lots of people are being skeptical about it, I should say. To kind of put it mildly, there are some very good reasons to question it. For one, if ADA hits $500 plus with its current circulating supply, around 35.8 billion coins, the market cap would be in the order of $18.9 trillion. That was trillion with a T for context. Now, that is like Apple, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon all combined, and then some. But of course, market cap is just a byproduct of price. It's not a barrier. It doesn't represent liquidity. It's not real money, right? If you don't understand what market cap is, then join the Discord because we need to educate you on what it is and what it is not. So although it is a big number, it is only a theoretical number, as all market caps are. It's an astronomical number for sure, more than 20 times the size of the entire crypto market that is today. So reaching that in less than a decade would mean that Cardano isn't just, powering a few decentralized applications or a niche community, right? It would actually have to be the backbone of something globally massive, right? Maybe multiple national economies. Frankly, the valuation does seem a little far-fetched, but again, it's all about the supply, the demand metrics. If there's a reason for the supply to shrink and the demand to grow, it's not impossible. But it is far-fetched given what we know today and know now. So yes, there's a lot of people on crypto, Twitter, and Reddit calling this prediction just pure hopium or just outright fantasy. And I don't blame them, right? An 85,000% price increase. Well, that's the leap from now to kind of $572, it is hard to kind of wrap your head around for sure. It stretches the limits of what we probably think is possible, even in crypto, where the impossible sometimes even happens. Now, I'm bullish on Cardano, but seeing $572 on a chart made me do a bit of a double take. Now, to believe that, you would have to believe that Cardano will achieve world domination in the crypto space. That nearly, everyone will be using ADA or the Cardano network in some form by 2034. Could it happen? Maybe, if everything goes perfectly well and the entire industry grows by leaps and bounds. But it is a tall order. Now, as I mentioned, I understand Elliott Wave theory very well. I have a whole course dedicated to it on the 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗱.com, and loads of people in a Discord server are familiar and have taken the course and understand Elliott Wave too. Now, what Mr. Brownstone is really saying here is he's taking a look at the 2020 to 2021 5-wave structure and is making the assumption that that's wave 1. But it's not technically the only possibility. It could also be an A wave upwards, meaning that we have the 5 waves to happen, and then that's it. There is no 5th wave to $572. And in fact, I'm already tracking with my own Elliott Wave structures that we had the 5 waves, the A1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A wave pattern from 2020 into 2021. And we had the correction down to 22 cents that was perfectly predicted by Elliott Wave, by the way. And we are now tracking an ending diagonal pattern into the C wave, which basically means the move that we've seen so far to the upside, from 22 cents up towards $1.30 something, that was basically an ABC structure that marks wave 1. We've had the crash, 27 cents, which is a perfect 88.2% retracement of that initial 22 cents to $1.30 something. Basically a perfect wave 2. We're looking for a wave 3, which I plot at around $5. And then I'm looking for a wave 4 afterwards, and then a final finishing move, which might possibly push towards $10. And that would actually mark the end of the C wave, and it wouldn't really hit the impulsive 1.618 required or the internal workings to actually map it out. So for Mr. Brownstone's structure to truly actually happen, you have to hit 20 cents. If we do not hit 20 cents and have a new lower low, then unfortunately, I don't think any of his analysis would be valid. So there's a lot to play for here. I'm either right and I think we're in an ending diagonal pattern, or Mr. Brownstone is right and we have to crash to 20 cents to make his scenario even plausible. You can let me know which one you think is more likely in the comments below. Now, before I go any further down this rabbit hole, let me just put something out there and keep us all grounded. Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your own responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, now that we're back, we had to drop the mandatory disclaimer so that the YouTube overlords don't smite me in my sleep, and more importantly, so that you guys all remember to stay safe out there. Now, what do I make of all of this, right? Do I secretly believe that ADA will hit $500? Or do I think Mr. Brownstone had just too many energy drinks? Well, the truth is actually somewhere in between, like I just mentioned. I think of these kind of outrageous kind of predictions as just thought experiments, right? They could get us all to consider the upper limits of possibility here, right? Could Cardano be the buy of the century? It's a pretty bold claim, but I wouldn't disagree with it, right? But here is one way to also look at it. Even if Cardano doesn't reach $500, if you bought at 20 cents and went to, let's say, $5 or $10 in the next 5 to 10 years, well, that alone would be pretty life-changing for a lot of people. If you had bought at 22 cents like many people did in our community, going to $5 to $10 would be life-changing for many people, right? You don't need $500 ADA to be very, very happy with your portfolio. And historically, the biggest gains are indeed made by buying when there's actually blood in the streets, when great projects are left for dead and everyone is so fearful, i.e. times like these, right? Remember the depths of the last bear market, right? ADA was under 3 cents at one point in 2020. I wish I had scooped it up for that. I actually ended up paying 8 cents for ADA. Yeah, imagine that. So if you had bought back then and rode it to $3 in 2021 like I did, it was over 100x. I didn't get the full 100x, 8 cents to $3.10. It's still a lot though, right? There was that hopium. At one point in time, absolutely it was, right? People didn't see it coming. But it did indeed happen, and it was perfectly plotted, by the way. Now, going from 20 cents to $500 is a 2,500x, which is much, much harder, and it involves much, much more liquidity, i.e. money. Now, it likely requires multiple bull cycles, hence the longer time frame, not just one or two. And the analyst himself basically has spread out this over a couple of big cycles, not just one that we're talking about here, the $167, and then a correction, and then another $500 plus, right, by 2034. So at least the timeline isn't next year or, something absolutely absurd. It's nearly a decade away. So it might be hard to believe, but it's not an overnight moon boy call either. Personally, I'm quite optimistic about Cardano's future, right? But I also keep my expectations quite grounded. Could ADA hit $10 or $20 in a strong bull run in a few years down the line? I think it is within the realm of possibility, yes, if crypto really does go mainstream and Cardano's ecosystem blossoms. $100? Well, that would require something a little bit more extraordinary, but I wouldn't say that it's impossible either. Let's say 10 plus years, right? $500? Well, I will be honest, it sounds extremely unlikely given what we know today. Yet, I won't complain if it does ever happen, right? I'll be on a private island somewhere, or something by then anyway, at least. I guess the key takeaway from Mr. Brownstone's bold call here, at least for me, is not that the exact $572 figure. It's actually the mindset of patience and optimism, right? And I guess opportunism, right? He's basically saying, you got to wait for the right moment, right? Even if it is a year plus away, then, at least when everyone is the most scared and is selling things off, you then go in heavy and you do it on a quality project like Cardano, right? Whether the magic number of ADA is 20 cents, 15 cents, or maybe it never goes that low again, as I don't expect it's going to, right? Who really truly knows, right? There's no crystal ball here. But I like the idea of keeping some cash ready just in case for those extreme dips, because those are the moments when you can buy assets like Cardano at fire sale prices, and then you just hold for the next few years and let the cycles play on out. Now, let's kind of pivot just a little bit here, because all this talk of grabbing opportunities, it got me thinking, and aside from just waiting to buy on low, what else can you do to maximize my own crypto holdings? After all, right, if ADA or any crypto truly does go to the moon, then you're going to want to have as much of it as reasonably possibly can without over leveraging or doing reckless things, of course, right? One of the things that I will say is I foolishly sold a car to buy Cardano's ADA in 2020. In hindsight, it was a dumb thing to do. Fortunately, it was a spare car that I wasn't using all that much, but in hindsight, it was kind of reckless, and I wouldn't actually advise anyone doing something like that now. But of course, you have to make your own decisions, and I can't make anyone's decisions for them because I'm not a financial advisor. But, truth be told, I've been that reckless in the past. It worked for me, but it doesn't always play out. So I do want to share a couple of things that I am personally doing though now to stack more crypto and to protect myself without being as reckless as I once was, which actually aligns with the whole be ready for anything kind of philosophy that I have. Now, one experiment that I've been pretty excited about recently is called Unity. Now, you've probably heard me mention Unity before in previous videos, so I will keep this brief for anyone who's an OG. Now, Unity is a project that lets you earn crypto using smartphones as mini nodes in a decentralized telecoms network. So think of it as putting your spare phones to work, right? Like kind of like how maybe people mine crypto on their mobile phones, right? Now, I actually went ahead and I purchased a Unity Node Master NFT, right? Which basically gives me 200 licenses, meaning I can connect up to 200 devices on the network when it launches. Now, the app isn't live quite yet, but it is supposed to be going live really soon. And I plan to start with a small test. I'm going to hook up these 10 phones, literally when it goes live, to see how successful and everything kind of works smoothly. And if it does work smoothly and it is successful, I'm going to scale it up from there. So why am I doing this? Well, if those devices can earn rewards, and I've chosen to be paid out, by the way, in Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, and XRP, then some of my favorite long-term coins, that is, by the way, it's like a form of staking or mining that can slowly but steadily accumulate more crypto for me, passively. And over time, that can really, really add up. Now, especially if those coins increase in value. Now, of course, Unity is not the main focus of today, and it's not some guaranteed thing either. It's just a really cool project that I am exploring. So please do your own research if you are indeed interested. Now, I'm going to put a link in the description down below to their light paper and their rewards calculator so that you can read up on all the details yourself. The rewards calculator is very interesting. If those numbers are even half right, I think some people are going to be switching to doing this full time. Anyway, I'm not here to hype up Unity. I'm just sharing what I am doing. In fact, I went as far as to buy a second and third Unity Node NFT, which I plan to use a little bit differently. I'm going to lease out some of these extra licenses to people in the community who are curious about Unity, but don't want to buy a full master node for themselves. Now, this will be done through our website, linked down below, and we're going to discuss it in our Discord server too. It's a way to let others dip their toes in without the huge upfront commitment. Again, Unity has been kind of a reoccurring topic on the channel. Many of you are already familiar with the concept, so I won't dwell on it for too long. The bottom line is simply this. I see it as another avenue to potentially grow my crypto stack on the side. In a world where ADA might hit some pretty crazy numbers, or even just as steadily grows, of course, having more ADA because I run some mobile nodes could actually be a really nice bonus. And if it doesn't pan out, hey, at least I experimented and I learned something new, right? There's no risk, no reward kind of situation. Now, another cornerstone of my strategy here, and something that you might also consider, is good old Cardano staking. Now, you know that I was going to go there, right? I do run a Cardano stake pool after all for our community, and the ticker symbol is CHEEK, C-H-E-E-K. Yes, as in cheeky crypto, right? It's basically a way for us ADA holders to kind of band together and secure the network. And in return, we earn some rewards in ADA. So if you're holding Cardano and you're not staking it, then you are missing out on free ADA rewards, plain and simple, right? It's a great way, it's a great thing, I should say, about Cardano staking is that your ADA is never actually going to leave your wallet. It's not locked up in some third-party app, and you can move it at any time, right? So you actually maintain full control over your crypto while earning around 4 to 5% APY. It of course varies, you have to do your own research and all that. But in addition to ADA, annually, right? It's just additional ADA. It's a bit of a no-brainer for me. And you can bet that I'm going to earn ADA from the Unity, I'm going to take it and I'm going to stake it to myself. Now, if you haven't already checked it out, consider delegating to the CHEEK pool or any pool that you do trust. Of course, I would love you to support the channel here by choosing the CHEEK pool. It really does actually help contribute to making all this content. But any kind of staking is better than none, right? And if you're currently staked with another provider, but you enjoy these videos and you want to support us, then just move your stake over to the CHEEK pool as a fantastic way for you to kind of support us. It costs absolutely nothing and there's no downtime at all. So, well, I should say you'll have to wait for the epoch to switch, of course, to take effect and all that. But, it's good nonetheless. And of course, it means an awful lot to us here on the channel. Now, making your ADA work harder for you while you kind of hibernate, waiting for the moonshot. It's kind of a smart investing move, in my opinion. And speaking of smart moves, let's also talk about exchanges here for a second. One thing that I've learned over the years is never rely on a single exchange. Exchanges can go down, they can freeze withdrawals, or worse, get hacked. You name it, right? So I have a little bit of an exchange redundancy plan. I signed up on pretty much all of the major exchanges that I can trust. And I even have some smaller ones that I can trust as well, just in case. This is like me talking about a plan A, B, C, and D, and so forth, right? Now, for me, that includes platforms like Kraken, one of my go-to platforms, by the way. BitGet, 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗍, also my go-tos, and a handful of others like Binance and Coinbase. I've KYC'd where necessary. I've done all of the small trade tests and withdrawals on each of these to make sure that everything is good. Takes some time, but it's worth doing. This way, if one exchange has issues, I can quickly move to another exchange and not be stuck. Now, this has saved my bacon many times over, right? At least when one exchange halts withdrawals for a week, I was able to just move to an alternative. When there's a huge influx of users and you can't sign in, I just move to another one, right? There's lots of ways and alternative routes to accessing funds and to trade when you need it the most. Now, I actually have all of the exchanges that I use listed on my website. The link for that is in the description, right? Full transparency. Those are affiliate links which support the channel, right? You've got to be clear about that, right? If you do use those links to sign up and trade, it actually does really help me out massively. I get a small commission from the exchange, right? And it costs you nothing extra. It is a win-win-win situation, right? I get a small commission from you signing up. You get an exchange that you can now trust and use, and the exchange gets a new user. Everybody is winning in this situation. And it's because I often have deals and arrange with them with other people that sometimes, depending on where you are around the world, you might also get a sign-up bonus for signing onto these exchanges. For instance, I've recently partnered up with Kraken to offer a pretty sweet limited time deal. If you sign up with Kraken, link in the description, and trade at least $100 worth of any crypto, excluding stablecoins, within a 30-day window, well, Kraken will credit you with $25 worth of XRP. Yeah, free XRP for trying out a top-tier exchange. That is a 25% instant reward on a $100 trade. It's not bad, right? And given how much we love XRP on this channel and on the main Cheeky Crypto channel, it's a cool way to stack even more crypto, right? The full details and the terms are linked in the description down below. We've got to stay compliant with all the rules. It's not affiliated with Cheeky Crypto, this channel, or YouTube. Remember the disclaimer from earlier. But in short, the new Kraken account, $100 trade, and boom, $25 in XRP. All the terms and conditions are linked in the description below. Now, if you ask me, it's a great way to both diversify your exchange options and accumulate even more crypto on the side. And of course, using my link supports the channel here. So thank you in advance if you do go ahead and sign up. Now, on the topic of affiliate stuff, I should probably mention exchanges like 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗍 and BitGet that I have noted and I do use regularly. Those links are also referral links. So I only partner with exchanges that I personally have used and trust. So when you go over to the website and you see all of those links, they are all exchanges that I have accounts with. Do trust them, right? So when I say I have accounts on 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰 and BitGet, I actually have tested them out many times over. And I keep those links on my site for anyone who wants to explore new platforms, right? With the market heating up, it's not a bad idea to just have multiple accounts ready, right? You don't want to be scrambling to open up a new exchange account in the middle of a bull run or during a crisis. Proactive preparation is key. I've learned that the hard way in 2021 when the exchanges were overwhelmed with new users. Now, let's go ahead and zoom out and wrap up this story today, because we started with a bit of a jaw-dropping prediction, didn't we, right? Cardano to $500 plus, the supposed buy of the century. Whether or not that exact scenario comes true, it sparked a pretty valuable conversation. It made me reflect on how I'm preparing for the next big opportunity. Now, for me, That means having dry powder on the side, cash or stablecoins, ready just in case ADA really does drop to those shockingly low prices. I don't think so, but you never know. It would also mean diversifying my income streams, right? Like experimenting with Unity nodes for passive income, and even staking my ADA in the meantime while earning more, right? So at least to keep on earning more. It means that I'm making sure that I have reliable exchange access so that I can actually execute when I need to, no matter what platform is up or down. And most of all, it means staying engaged with the community. So a shout out to everyone who is on the YouTube channel here, in the comments section, and in the Discord server. You've got to keep a pulse on what is hype and what is real. Cardano might or might not end up being the trade of the century. No one can predict the future with certainty. Not me and not Mr. Brownstone. Not even Charles Hoskinson himself, though I'm sure Charles would love to see those numbers. But one thing that I do know is this. The people who fare the best in crypto are those who research, those who stay patient, and those who make rational moves when others are panicked. Now, if ADA does hit 20 cents again, and the world is calling it absolutely dead, then I will be quietly and cautiously accumulating because I believe in the tech and the community. And if it never gets that low, well, I'm already in the game and I'm staking too, so I won't complain. At the end of the day, here's me not saying at the end of the day in a cliche kind of way, but in a literally we are towards the end of the video kind of way. It's actually about balancing optimism with realism, right? We hope for the moonshots, but we plan for the worst. Cardano has a passionate community, solid developments that are going on, and a track record of surviving through thick and thin. Will it fulfill the most ambitious prophecies? Well, I'm excited to find out. And you can bet that I'm going to be here on YouTube in 2034 reacting to whether we actually hit $572 or not. Right? We'll either be laughing about how crazy that was or popping champagne because it came true. Either way, it's going to be one heck of a journey ahead. So if you have enjoyed coming along on this adventure, hearing the wild predictions, the plans, the strategies, then you can do me a favor. You can hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and join the crew, right? Because the crypto ride is just getting started, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe for more crypto adventures, and I will catch you in the next one.